The presentation, I'm going to show you a lot of things that you could just instantly buy quickly to get started with alternative energy that's very affordable. And then I'm going to show you some things you can do it yourself. This whole talks about do-it-yourself prepping. We're going to cover everything from wood gas to Thermo Power to solar to wind, you name it. I about tried to cram it in here. I like to be interactive with everybody. For those of you that watch the YouTube, I try to always tailor things to be one-on-one with people. I'm going to pass these things around, so whenever you get done at the back, just pile them over the corner there. I'll recollect later. For those of you that don't know about my YouTube channel, really excited. We just clicked 10,000 subscribers last week, and it's one of the top 10 most viewed prepping channels in the world on YouTube, so I'm happy about that. So by all means, please check us out online at YouTube if you've not seen it. Okay, to begin with, something that I keep with me at all times. I actually used this the other day. This is a Goal Zero portable solar panel, and the thing works great. I got no issues with it, but it's very expensive. Anything that Goal Zero makes, I found that it has two flaws. It puts the power out, but it drains quickly, and it's very, very expensive. I mean, that's the two flaws I find with Goal Zero. In opposition to that, right here, this is American made here in America by a young man that I don't even think is of legal age yet. I don't think he's 18 yet. Anyway, him and his dad designed this, and you can get the same thing, they're identical looking, for $50 cheaper. I've used this thing quite a bit. It is great. The only problem is it comes in Firehouse Red, so that's the only color you get it. I told the dude you need to do tactical, alright, or camo or something to be a little more appealing. But anyway, I'm going to pass these around. You can check it out. Unzipper it, you can get all the plugs out and look at that. This one here has a power pack as well, so that's the only difference is the one takes a double A's, and this one here just has a sail that you just plug a USB into. So you can pass them around there, man. Alright, let's see where to go to next. This right here is probably one of the neatest inventions I've ever seen made in my life. It's made here in America, and I believe in supporting American enterprise. If you see my YouTube channel, I handle that all the time. I don't do made in China, okay? This is Greennovative is the company that makes this, and Melon Rig's super, I mean, got some serious technology going on up his head. You take salt water, you mix salt with water, and it charges these batteries. You can do this and recharge this up to like 90, it's equivalent to like 90 rechargeable batteries. Alright, that's crazy. If you can find batteries for around 30 bucks, 90 of them for 30 bucks, call me up. Nobody's called me yet, because you can't beat it, alright? And I got this for the fire, EMS, the police, and some of the guys with the volunteer CERT team for FEMA. We all got this, and the EMS just done a test with it the other day, and they were super pleased with it for backup for their radio communication equipment. And I'll pass this around. There's a salt pack in there. All you have to do in emergency is just cut the tip of that salt pack, pour it in. Not trying to be profane. In a worst case scenario, you don't even have salt. You can go behind the tree, take care of business, and it'll make you some power. And there's the information about it right there. Get that out and check it out. The drain plug is on the side, the fill plug's on the top, and all you got to do is just fill it up just a little bit to that point, and it'll start making you power.
Where do you find them batteries?
The batteries?
Where do you buy them?
At greennovative.com.
Greennovative?
Yeah, the website's on it. Everything I'm passing around, I'll give you the website info for if you got a notepad. If not, just get with me after a while. I got information on the stuff. Like I said, I'm hardcore about American-made stuff, but this right here, you can't beat it, and it's one of the greatest things I've ever seen made after a disaster. You know, when bad things happen, you either rise above it or you become a statistic. And the guys in Japan, they decided that they were going to do something that was not for profit. It was to help the people, because a lot of Japanese people still dying today from the effects of Fukushima. And they needed something where that people just on the fly, if you're walking out today, it's like, man, you know, I better check it before I go into town. This is a Geiger meter. You don't have to have it calibrated or anything. You can plug it into your iOS device. I got this for my iPhone. The app is free. You can get the really fancy ones, got all the bells and whistles that you need to be a NASA technician to read, but you can get that for like $7 more. This thing here is only like 50 bucks. Okay, that thing, the battery thing was only like 30 bucks. This right here, you can buy this for 50. It goes on Android device or iPhone, and it doesn't matter 5, 6, 7, whatever Apple's up to now. They got one for just about every one of them. And the website is on it, so you can check that out. I don't never usually endorse anything out of this country, but I gotta say this is epic. I tested my house a while back, and it's got a guide that it tells you how to test things and read the numbers on it. And here in Tennessee, we're in good shape, and that's a good thing because I really don't want to ever have to deal with that situation. All right. Now I'm going to touch on Thermo Power for a minute. Tell me whenever we need to take a break. All right.
Well, no, go ahead, keep going. I got you.
All right. This is the stove light. I think one night I got invited out and I brought the power pot, the new power pot that was supposed to be coming out, and the thing flopped. All right, well, we tested this on the back porch. This actually does work. And what they've done is they've got a cooling fan built into it. What you have to do to make power with a Peltier plate, and I'll tell you how to build your own stuff here in a minute, is one side has to be cool and the other side has to have extreme heat. And because of that, the ions start doing everything and it reverses and makes power. The only problem is like where that Peltier plate might have took in 100 watts from your power grid to cool your refrigerator or whatever you want to cool with, making power back out, it's a small percentage, like 6-7%. So you have to have a lot of plates, either wired in series or parallel, to get what you're wanting out of it, depending on if you're wanting the voltage or the wattage. But anyway, this company here in America. It's made in Vermont. This is not on the market yet. You can check out their Kickstarter page, or you can go to stovelight.com. We tested it, what was it, 9 minutes, right?
Yeah.
About 9 minutes off the stove. We were fixing my stove up for my tiny house build, and we took it off the stove, carried it around the yard, worked great. There's only a few things in life that's EMP proof. Okay, everything has diodes in it. I'm going to get into the EMP situation. I argue with people all the time. People's like, well, the government says this, that, you know, after an EMP that this ought to last and this ought to last. You know what? I don't care what anybody says. I want to know that it's going to last. Okay, so when I set this on the stove, after everybody else has went black, still got some light. Okay, so anyway, there's that. Pass that around. Like I said, that is not on the market yet. They're going to have another version that I really want to get a hold of that's got a battery built into it. Dimmer knob, a USB port, the whole works. So you can charge it up and take it on the go with you. And if you're not seen on the YouTube, we done a little thing, how to build your own stove out of some paint cans. You could use something as simple as that to make that create some light. I believe that's got the little stuff. And there's a ton of little things. This is just a little handful of it. You can check it out on the YouTube channel. Watch any of the videos that we got up. There's an advertisement that comes up about the 3-minute mark, and it'll take you straight to the playlist where you can see all these things reviewed, tested in the field. Right here, this is not
real quick before you move on. Have you tried that on one of those clay pot heaters?
clay pot. No, we haven't. No, we need to do that. That's a great idea.
Kind of talked about it, but
yeah. No, I mean, we did it on the wood stove and it worked exactly like they said it's supposed to. The clay heater, that's a great idea. That might be a future YouTube video. But right here, it's not the time of year to be building this. You don't want this thing pumping heat in here right now because I'm going to tell you, we're all about to roast out. I started on this in the fall and finally finished it up here a couple weeks ago before the expo run. And this thing will put out 130-degree heat at about 15 cubic feet a minute. It's built completely out of garbage. Everything that I build, I try to do it out of recycled material or garbage. This is a solar air heater. Built this for my mom and dad to help cut their electric bill down. It goes in their window, so you can just take it and set it up in the window. You can build this as big as you want or as small as you want. I really wouldn't go much smaller than that. Anyway, the inlet and the whole build video from start to finish shows you how to do this. This is just pop cans. Solar panels from Radio Shack. That's the only thing that is new in it, and the handle. A meat temperature gauge. I put that there in front of the computer fan so they kind of get an idea and indication of how much heat I'm putting out. And a lot of people design these solar air heaters. It just runs the system, and then the very last can it comes out. What we done in the build different is we let it do like a heat exchanger. the last two cans going out, as you can see, this is dipped down further. That's because we let the air come up and do expansion through these cans, and it lets the fan pull it like crazy. And you know, whenever you get, especially guys being in the Middle East, you just know whenever that day, the sand kicks up, the wind kicks up, it's almost burning it when it hits you. Well, the 130-degree heat coming out of it, it's almost the point where it'll start getting your hand feel like it's burning. This doesn't have to sit out in the weather, and that's the great thing about it. If you want to build one that goes out in the weather, you can seal it up. I use Lexan glass. This is bulletproof, and believe me when I say bulletproof, I just took a 22 the other day and shot some glass. So it is bulletproof up to a certain amount. You know, they just think somebody's going to shoot your solar air heater, but had the extra glass, so we used it from a construction build. You can build this project for about $50 if you're very conservative, and I'll tell you where you'll spend most of your money is at Radio Shack, because I prefer to buy American, so I spent more money on the pounds. If you want to buy from China, that's between you and the Chinese. You can go on eBay for $5. So it's up to you, but that is a great deal, and you can knock this out in the workshop in about 1 day. And the wood, I recycle my wood from an old beat up pallet. You can get the wood you need from the pallet. It's pretty easy.
What did you say the rate of air movement was?
The what?
The rate of air movement?
It's about 15 cubic feet a minute. Okay, one last note on this right here, on the solar air heater, is a lot of people, you know, put these units outside, no matter what the size is, they put them outside. Using that inside your window, you're recirculating the air in your house, so you're going to make it a lot hotter, a lot faster, as opposed to doing it outside. Just a note on that right there. A lot of people talk to me all the time about making wood gasification. Does it really work? Yes, it works. It is the nastiest, most time-consuming, hardest work I've ever done to make power in my entire life. I wouldn't advise doing it unless it was the absolute last-ditch effort. And that's why when we done the build video showing you that, it's like you had nothing else left. That's how to do it. It is flammable. You can get burnt. The gas vapor itself can literally light you up. I've been burned a couple times from it, from doing it. That ammo can right there and the smaller ammo can, the lid's on it, you're not making a bomb, okay? The way that we designed that is it's forward pressure. So what happens is, I don't have the other can here in the picture, but if you can just imagine, say that box right there is the ammo can for a minute. This first one, as you load wood in it, there's no pressure at all. When you clamp the lid down, you still have the same mass that you put into it in. But as it starts to heat and char, the vapor expands, pushing itself out of the box. And then when that goes through that high temp hose, it goes on into the other ammo can, expands the liquid off of it, and the vapor passes on through to your generator, and that's it in a nutshell. You can build that for about $200, I think we got about $220 in that build. You can go to Leaf generator, I think those guys sell it for about $4,500. You want to buy your wood gasifier, I mean, hey, if you want to build one, it's $200. I don't have $4,500 to spend, just saying. I would only use that in the worst case scenario. It does gum up your generator. It's nasty. We're going to try to swap up with a kitty litter for the cleaning of the liquid out of it. We still haven't found the best method for doing that. But when we done that on Doomsday Preppers, yes, that was real. That was actually the first time we ever run it. It wasn't fake. Just saying. Okay, this is one of the best builds probably we've ever done. If I had to give up every single alternative energy prep that I've ever bought, ever built, I would give them all up and keep that one right there. That is EMP proof. You can use it after an electromagnetic pulse. All you'd have to do is begin pedaling, and the path of least resistance, you just hook your lead at the last minute as you begin pedaling, and it'll start passing power to your battery. When you're about done pedaling, unhook the lead so it ain't back feeding power. I don't know if everyone can see this right here. The meter, I told the public at an expo that they could try it out. Well, people just, I guess they've seen all these videos on YouTube where you have to get on a bicycle and you're like about to stroke out trying to turn an alternator. Number one, that little motor right there is not an alternator, and I'll show it to you in just a second. Anyway, long story short, this kid got on there and he was like pedaling like for, I mean, he was just trying to get across town, and he burned out my self-powered meter. But anyway, in a nutshell, this is about all the effort you have to get to. You can see seen in the YouTube video. That's about it. Alright, I want to keep my heart in good shape. I'm not, a good workout is fine. I'm not trying to blow out. There's a difference. So that's about it right there. So it's good exercise in case of emergency, and you can make power. It almost cheats Unity because when we designed it, my friend Brian May lives in Indiana, and me and him done a lot of talking back and forth over the phone about it. You take a bicycle, you gear from large to small gear, then you take from even larger to smaller from a 200-to-1 ratio. You're literally about, getting more power than you're putting in theory. There is a company that's about to bring a product to market. They currently blow air into a tank, and it has baffles, and it lifts. And by the lift, it turns a gear, which turns another gear through the transmission, and it turns one of these wind turbines generators that my friend Tony at Hurricane Wind Power makes, and it makes more power into the system back to your battery bank than what you're expending because you're just pushing air under a baffle and it's turning. So really neat. So that's kind of in the same principle of that. There's 2 other update videos to this now where that it shows you can make this thing into, you can pull the plug so you can break it down 2 parts and load it up, take it on the go. And also the wiring on it, everything, the update on that. You can build.
You can go from the smallest front gear to the largest back gear.
No, from the largest front gear to the smallest.
Okay.
And then from the largest tire. Don't use a road bike. Only use a mountain bike. I ain't going to get into why. Just do what I say if you want to do it. $130 is all that you have to invest in that, okay? It does work. That you use for that build. This is the most critical component of all. I'm going to pass this around. This is a DC permanent magnet motor. It came off a treadmill. And you need to make sure and be specific that you get the right treadmill motor. It has the 2 controller wires that tells it how fast to go or how slow to go, because the treadmill moves people. Well, when you take and reverse that and people's moving the treadmill, you only need a portion of that to make voltage. So let's think about that. Massive ratio to the smaller gear, then 201, and then you're turning that and you only need 1/8 of that. It's just not that much effort to make the power. This thing is rated, I think the one on it's rated for 97 volts. This one's 95. I've got them almost identical. This one's from Icon Health and Fitness. These things are going for about 180 to 100 bucks on eBay. People ask me about this all the time. If you want one of these, I'll sell you this for 60 bucks because I've got some projects going on I'll be glad to fund. So if you want this, there's an extra. And it already has the same pivot mount, so if you go to build this just like the build video, this is identical. I had to have this for an expo, so now I need to get the cash back out of it. So just holler at me at the end of that if somebody wants that.
You have to have a regulator to set that down up?
No. Now there's the thing about batteries. You are the regulator. That's why it's so important that you put the self-powered meter on there, because when you get up to about 14 volts, you're pedaling at 14 volts, the thing only makes about 2 amps. At that point, so your batteries will buffer that. It's just like one of those panels you can go to Harbor Freight or what's the other place, Northern Tool? Yeah, you can get that big marine set up where it's for your marine boat. You just lay the panel out, charges the battery a trickle. Same principle. They're like hooking to one of those wall chargers. And like I said, that's only about 130 bucks in it. If you can go to the flea market and get the old beater mountain bike, the framework, you can go to Lowe's and get some shelving. Throw the shelves away or scrap them. Just use the frame metal. That DC motor is off the treadmill. I use the wiring because I used to be employee at Peterbilt Knoxville. I got the wiring off an old Peterbilt truck and wired that in.
The frames that like you can put your bicycle on that have got those rollers in them and stuff like that, like in wintertime, can you use that same setup?
Well, I'll tell you that as I answer this other thing, is if you go online and Google this. Has anybody seen the bicycle generator that is online you can buy for about $1,000? Anybody seen that? Is it not literally $1,000? I mean, I'm telling you people, this is free information. I'm not charging you anything. I'm telling you, if there's anything you need when a disaster comes, it's power. All right, when you can't flush the toilet, you can't run the water no more, you'll be thinking about it. That roller thing, he kind of went with a concept similar to that. And the frame, you could get you one of those stands that you just set and practice pedaling on. You can mod it out. I've looked at it. I just think it would take some metal. It would take some metal fabrication or welding and things like that. I tried to design that in a way that you could just bolt it together. Anybody could do it without metal working. But yeah, you could definitely use that. And those things I think are like 30 bucks on eBay. You can get the stands pretty cheap. And then all you need to do is come off with a piece of angle iron and then come up with your 2 brackets to bolt your motor. Because the thing with this design is that belt, you get that micro V belt at O'Reilly's, and the length is pretty tight right now and it's taut on it. But over time it's going to wear down as you use it over time. No problem. Just change one of the bolts. Lift your bike up or down to tension out your belt, and you can keep running until it wears out. So I mean, we try to take that into consideration. You couldn't do that with the fixed mount thing. That's the only trade-off with that. You'd have to metal fabricate, but you can use it by all means if you got one. Okay, and please feel free after we go through all this to come around, check everything out. This is some 411 that you can make some cash back on. Is that desireusa.org. You can go to it. Obviously, we're all from the state of Tennessee, I take it, in this room. So you want to go on there, click our state, and click the county. And the incentives on there, I'm going to show you some examples of the incentives here in a minute. But for alternative energy equipment, these are vendors that I totally endorse. I'm not getting paid to endorse them. I use their stuff. I buy their stuff. It's great. It gives me content for the channel. HurricaneWindPower.com. I have Tony's cards right here when we get done. Made in America. Dude just won an award again from Roanoke City for quality American-made stuff. I need not say any more. 2 times. Solarion.com. Aaron is a great guy. I'll get into his stuff here in a minute. After Hurricane Sandy, they were like, this is it. We got to have power. We're not going to deal with this again. So they started a company making solar equipment. Missouri Wind and Solar, the wind turbine build that we'll be finishing up here soon on the YouTube channel. You can see one of their turbines installed. Obviously couldn't bring that down off 30-foot tower right now to show to you guys, but that's a great place to get a wind turbine. Either one of those, Tony or Jeff at Missouri Wind and Solar. I'm sorry, I'll leave that up for a minute. Everybody got that wrote down?
Not yet.
Okay, I'm sorry. Just say when. Yes, sir.
Those are actual power producing products, correct? American made power producing products?
Yes. Well, now some of that right there, you'll have to check whenever you're on the website. Some stuff's made in America. I mean, they sell a variety of stuff. So.
Well, the other question I was going to is how much Obama funding do they get?
Oh, I don't reckon they get anything.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah. No, this is hot. I mean, everything.
They're not in the PAL network, right?
No.
They don't get anything to go bankrupt 6 months from now?
No.
Like Solyndra?
Actually, Tony, I have more respect for Tony than anybody. I know. I'm actually going to work for him next week to help him catch up his wind turbines and make some coin because he's busy. And everything he makes, I mean, he makes it right there in shop, in-house, in America. I mean, we need to get back to that, people. I cannot overstress that enough. But I'll put that slide back up here at the end of the presentation so if anybody didn't get that information. Now, here's an example. I'm going to actually step up here and read this off the slide for you because Indiana is a great example. The eligible renewable technologies: solar water heat, solar space heat, solar thermal process heat, photovoltaics, solar raised wind, hydroelectric, geothermal electric, geothermal heat pumps, solar cool heat, geothermal directives. I wonder if you went to Walmart and got one of those floats, that you fill up with iron, you lay on top, you put over the heat. I wonder if you get a discount because of that. I'm just messing. And geothermal direct use, so I'm thinking that would be like if you have a heat exchange for your greenhouse where it's going under and coming out, something we're working on for the channel. I think that would even qualify. Indiana's awesome. I wish Tennessee would do like this. This is in commercial, industrial, or residential, so everybody, it's applicable to everybody. Now, what they done is, this right here is Brian's, a copy of what Brian got back. They gave him a huge discount on his property tax and on his home and everything. I mean, it was massive money difference that it helped save him and everything. Now, that was an exemption that he could take off. Not only that, but you can count the 30% from the federal, which I'll get to in a minute, and then you got state incentives too. So this is why I tell people I don't like to get in bed with the government, but you go on grid to begin with. And then one day later down the road, when you have that licensed electrician put you a multi-pole switch disconnect in when you do your install, one day later down the road, you take a hammer that just happened to fall off the shelf and hit the lock, and then you just go over there and pull that thing right on down to off grid. Here is the federal tax credit, and my dad was a recipient of this this year. Right here in short, if you do solar, wind, fuel cells, hydro, I mean you name it, 30%. So here's what you do. You get from Hurricane Wind Power, Missouri Wind Solar, wherever you buy your turbine, you do your labor and you keep up with it, $30 an hour. Because if I done it for you, that's exactly what I'll charge you. I'll be straight with it, 30 bucks an hour. All right, and then you count all your receipts from your turbine, gas, all that, and you turn it in at the end of the year. Dad was almost zero cost because that I done the labor for him. Man, 30% adds up fast, and I'll show you some things here that you can buy right out of the box. You can literally nowadays buy an entire solar setup out of the box, set it up, ground mount in your yard, plug it in, UL list it, and cut your electric bill like almost overnight. It's crazy. Federal incentives though, this right here, there's not a cap on it. All right, so the best of my knowledge, anything after 08, I mean, pretty much you buy $50,000 or 500 bucks. You know, you just count at the end of the year and get it. I'm actually counting that Harbor Freight that I done on the house. I mean, you can, sky's the limit. Okay, get your money back. Tennessee State incentive. Now here's the thing: TVA has it where that you get $1,000 immediately for signing on with, as long as your paperwork's processed. I'm not going to tell you my electric company because I don't want to get in trouble for slandering people. But for example, my electric cooperative will charge you $300-some for a piece of paper just to sign on and say, hey, I'm going to sell power. Then they charge you $300-some to come do an interconnection fee, because if I'd done it privately for you, I wouldn't interconnect you anyway. I'm not a licensed electrician. I have an industrial, I have a lot of industrial things, but I'm not a licensed electrician. I intentionally am not, because I don't want it hung on me. That guy will do the last wiring, and then you'll be on the grid. The incentive is almost eat up by my electric company because of that. And they know that you're going to get that money. They also charge you, I believe it's $10 a month for selling them powers. I'm telling you, it just keeps adding. So there is a give and take for going on grid, but if you get through that first year and then you get that 30% back and you get all those incentives, and then that next year, if you got that battery bank installed, forget it. You got your money and you be done with it. Solar power. We're going to go into solar power now. This is something that you can start out simple with, 100 watts at a time. This is a Renogy panel. It is a very well-built panel. Me and Luke got together and wanted to do a project where that he's got all the communication equipment in a box. I built this array, and you can see on the YouTube how to build your stand. You can do a single panel or a double. And who's got an old DirecTV or dish mount that you don't use? Okay, would you like to have a solar array in your yard? It can be done. You just take you a little bit of angle or either some tubing and use the measurements and the drill out. You can mount this directly on the mount. You take the old satellite dish, you chunk it. It's got the mount already on the solar angle that you need for a solar panel. You don't have to be no master technician with this. The angle for the satellites passing in orbit is the same angle almost that you need for the solar in our area. So that's awesome. Just unbolt, put your panel on, and done. MC4, I'll get into this company. I mean, there's companies now that are actually making all this off-grid stuff that you can plug and play immediately with MC4. Because, I mean, this is an industrial standard. So you don't have to pay a fortune for like Gold Zero to get fancy little input plugs and, everything. You just go straight in with it. You could literally buy a panel offline tomorrow and something like from Solaron and have off-grid power the next day. So anyway, me and Luke fixed this up right here in this box, something that can be fixed up as small and compact as this. There's 2 batteries in the back. Oh, okay, that's right, yeah. I forgot we Velcroed this. You can plug that panel into this right here. And all that's needed is a charge controller, and I'm going to show you on the screen in a minute how to wire your own stuff.
Can you pull it out?
Oh yeah. Did you Velcro that too?
Yeah.
You know what, I'll just... But anyway, that will run from your panel to a charge controller, and then it's charging that battery bank, and we got all that hooked to it. And I mean, that's just like the smallest compact simple setup you could have right there. So literally you can take your battery or two and put in like a container like this. It's military grade container. I mean, it's waterproof, nuclear proof. I mean, it's got the works, but you can do something that small with a Rubbermaid with the handles, put a battery or two in it, charge controller in that, and an inverter, and you've got power on the day. And if you do any camping, a lot of people that go camping, like I got this one from somebody that they used to take it out and set the satellite on. When they don't use it anymore, sand it down, get the rust off, and paint it. Now you got a portable tripod mount. Goal Zero sells tripod mounts to put their panels on, and it's a fortune. It's like $150, $200 for just the tripod. And you can get that from the scrap pile or from the garbage. So that's exactly where that one comes from. So there's 3 options to go with solar. Number 1 is, as long as you don't get caught. A lot of electric companies are sketchy about this. They want to inspect your stuff. And the reason being is because all of a sudden when you drop your electric bill, there's 2 times the electric company will come visit you. When your electric bill goes out of sight, like the one guy that was growing marijuana, and his subdivision and his electric bill was 3 times out of his neighbors, he didn't apparently know about going off grid. So he took his way out the roof. Well, they're going to come visit you. If you start cutting your electric bill overnight, I mean, you start cutting huge increments, they're going to come pay a visit. All right, and what this is you take a panel like that, and you come directly into this with your leads, and this is a grid tie power inverter. Our electric, some of our local electric utility companies, they will make you have a separate meter to backfeed that into the grid. But if you get one of these, and there is some that's UL listed, me and Brian May showed one of these at the Dayton Prepared and Inspired Expo that was UL listed and CE. So if your electric company's sketchy about it being UL, you plug this directly into a wall outlet that's not pulling power. So you want a wall outlet that's not got a TV plugged in or a microwave. You don't want any dedicated load on it. It's just an empty circuit. And it backfeeds directly into your house, and your house sucks all that power and absorbs it immediately. So all you're out is a panel and an inverter. So let's add that up. That's like $100 and $70, and you can start eliminating 300 watts off your electric bill. And then you get another, you plug another, and before you know what I'm saying, you don't have to do it overnight. People, I didn't start out overnight just having it all, okay? Everything had to be a little alone. If you have the money to do it overnight, I say do it overnight. I get tired of paying electric bills. But the most important thing is that can't have loads on it. It has to be a dedicated circuit. That means right back to the box. Option 2. Now I know there's a lot of stuff on that screen. I'm going to go over this with you. Imagine this is your roof or on the ground. Okay, that's ground mount on your roof, on your patio, or whatever. All these panels, you have a hot and a ground that come in, that goes into a combiner box. And all that does is bring all those wires, that jumbled mess, and the spider web into 2 things. And then you have a disconnect, like with my wind turbine, I have a disconnect so I can turn it off out there at the pole and service it, because I don't want to be electrocuted. If that thing started turning all of a sudden, I'm be at risk to get electrocuted. And you come down to this DC breaker panel. Now I encourage people to have a breaker panel because you can take that to direct loads. So has anybody got like a Harbor Freight, the little 45 watt solar thing? Anybody got one? Keith, you been using any loads off that, just the DC stuff?
It's still in the box, Luke. I'll cook hamburgers one night and you come over.
Hey, we'll fix you up. Well, anyway, you can pull direct loads off that, because it already has the inverter in it. And that's great stuff. Before I got the Solaron, I used the lights quite a bit. Funny story, as a volunteer for FEMA, CERT volunteer, went out when Winter Storm Iago comes, spent the whole night picking people up, called in 911, people off the road, come home, had no power. Well, I had my battery bank installed, had everything, but didn't have no inverter. So I was just as bad a shape as everyone else. So it's one of them nights you take a cold shower, you go to bed, and you forget about it. I got power now.